Okay, we're going to start testing the audio for this session. If you can hear me, you can say something or you can type something in the conversation area. I know we're waiting on several more people to join, so okay, I've got Leanne that can hear me. Robert, thank you. Rachel, can you hear me? Kim, thank you, you can hear me. Rachel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't figure out how to type.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine. So what I'll do is just if you have any questions during the session, just jump in, um, unmute yourself and jump in. And I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes because, like I said, we've got several more people that said that they were going to join today, and they may be having some technical issues trying to join in. So just I'm going to put you guys on mute, but I'm still here. So hang on for just a second. Hi, Glenda. Thanks for joining in. I'm just giving just a couple more minutes to allow a few more people some time to join in. But if you can't hear me, Glenda, let me know. If you can't hear me, you may need to. Oh, I see you typing. Okay, awesome. All right, I'm going to put you back on mute. I appreciate you all for being on time. Just give me just a couple more minutes because I have a few that said that they were joining, so I'm going to give them a minute or two longer. Okay, I'm trying to help one person get logged in, so hang tight for just another minute. I am really sorry. Okay, while we're waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I don't know if she's going to be able to join or not, but I'll keep monitoring my other screen to see if I see any more messages from her. Anyways, thank you all for joining today. This is going to be just a really quick presentation, basic presentation for your campus instruction, um, showing you all basic navigation things, some things that you all can do, and also what you need to do to set your gradebook up so you can start creating assignments and so forth and so on. So my name is Tanya Fluke, and I work for the Office of Career and Tech Ed, and I'm also the KTS Data Exchange Manager. And I have found that in the past that teachers are pretty much just you guys are given so much information, and then you're just pretty much thrown into Infinite Campus and given a login and basically here you go. So that has caused issues with grade calculations and things such as that, especially at the end of the school year. So I wanted to make sure that I paid some more attention to you guys at the beginning of the school year so that when we got to the end, we weren't dealing with grade calculation issues and stuff such as that. So hopefully this will be helpful to you, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want, let me bring up a different screen here. Okay, first thing that I want to show you is our KTS Data Exchange webpage. This is our webpage for all things associated with our technical school system. And to get to this page, you can go to the Kentucky Department of Education website, and in the right-hand corner, you can type in KTS Data Exchange, and then hit search, and then anything that pops up down here, you can click on that, and it'll take you to our this page right here. Or you can go to the Kentucky Department of Education webpage, and from here you would click on District and School Support, and then scroll down to Technology and hit Select. Then on the left-hand side, you would select Kentucky Student Information Systems, and then scroll down, and at the bottom of that, you'll see Cases, KTS Data Exchange. Okay, so on this page, you're going to find all information about the KTS Data Exchange, what it is, how to set it up, and everything. But the only thing that you guys, as teachers, are going to need to pay attention to is, first of all, in the middle, we will have past trainings listed here, but there's a how-to videos in the middle as well, and there's one called Gradebook Setup and Assignment Creation in Campus. It's a little less than 30 minutes long. And after, if you want to bookmark this web page, which I highly suggest that you do, you can always reference back to this recording, and it will kind of refresh your memory on some things that we've gone over today. Also, on the right-hand side, under the Infinite Campus login heading, this is where you will log into to Infinite Campus for the technical schools. So the KTS Infinite Campus login for employees is where you'll log in. Now, here's something else that you'll need to remember for later is your students will go here to log in to the technical school student and parent portal, and this is the URL for that. And there are instructions listed here for student access and parent access. So for right now, we're actually going to be working out of the sandbox. So I'm going to do this presentation from the sandbox. But when you click on that link, it's going to take you to our live ATC Kentucky site, and you'll see that right here. But the sandbox actually looks a little different. The sandbox is where you can go to kind of play around. It's like a copy of our web page. It's a copy of our Infinite Campus site, and it's kind of where administrators can go to play around and experiment and do some things that they don't want to do in the live site and mess the live site up. So that's right here. You'll see where it says sandbox. So that's where I'm going to log in right now. And most of you, when you log in, you'll log in directly to your instruction module, but this is called the Campus Tools module, and all of you all have access to that. So to get back and forth between the Campus Tool module and the Campus Instruction, you will click on this little app switcher right here at the top, and it looks kind of like a waffle or a Rubik's Cube. And then you would select instruction. But before we go there, I just want to show you quickly what you can do in Campus Tools. Okay, Leanne, you said you can hear me, but you're not seeing anything. Okay, let me try to reshare my screen and see if that helps. So I'm going to stop presenting, and I'm going to re-present and see if that helps. And give it just a second. Amy, can you hear me? I see you've gotten logged in. You can, okay. Leanne, can you see the screen now? Okay, thank you, Amy. Anybody else having any problem seeing the screen? I can hear and see you. I had to install the app. Okay. All right. No, it's a black screen. I can... Nothing else. Okay. So do me a favor, Leanne, and go ahead and close out, and then try to come back in and see if your browser, what browser are you using, actually? And I don't know if it's because you're using a MacBook or not. It should be compatible as far as the browser goes, but then Amy says she had to install the app. And we're going to try to see if we can get Leanne seeing our screen, but everybody else can see my screen. Is that correct? Just if you can, just type a yes, and that way I'll know for sure. Okay, Leanne, that's fine. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. Okay, and it probably is just something quirky on Leanne's end. So hopefully she'll be able to figure that out. All right. So on your sandbox, on the web page, sorry. Let me get back over to the screen I need to be on. Okay. The campus tools. Some of the things that you'll be able to do over here that you cannot do on your campus instruction is you can conduct various types of searches depending on your rights. You can search students. You can search. I think you can search your courses, and then on the student general page. Let me look for a student. I'll just type me because I've got myself in here as a student. You will see several tabs that has information about that particular student, including enrollment information, their schedule, their attendance record, grades, transcript, behavior, this type of things that you'll see on the campus tool side of it. You can run reports off of this side and everything. One other thing before we move into campus instruction that I want to show you is you also have access to campus community. And so if you click on that, the first time it's going to make you register. And you'll just have to follow the prompts to register for a login. Credentials to be able to log in. But then after that, then you should be able to click on that community button and it will take you to where you need to go. But I'm going to show you what the campus community looks like. Since I'm working out of a sandbox right here, if I click on this button, it's not going to take me anywhere. So I'm opening up my live page so I can show you what campus community looks like. So when you log in to the campus community, it's going to look something like this. You won't have the cases area right here, but you will have everything else. You'll be able to see the news, you'll be able to see support, knowledge base, you'll be able to see this little search area right over here, and then this part is the one that I wanted to show you. ICU. ICU stands for Infinite Campus University. The state of Kentucky pays for all of its users to be able to take free webinar classes from Infinite Campus instructors. So you can go here and click on this ICU link, and it'll log you in and take you to a catalog where you can select various types of courses. The course catalog will list all different types of courses, but the ones that you can partake in for free are the Infinite Campus University webinars. These are the ones that you would be able to partake in. And you can also get to them by typing up here in this search box up here. So I'm going to type in campus instruction to see if anything populates. And there are several campus instruction and campus learning types of training sessions. So Infinite Campus usually breaks down their campus instruction training, I think, in 4 parts. So you can, the basics, the gradebook basics, let me see, and then let me see if it'll narrow it down a little. Part 3 is advanced gradebook scoring and posting. And then part 4, oh no, it's just 3 parts. Okay. All right. So you can select the one that you want to take a look at. And like you see right here, it says it's free. But if you click on this drop-down box, it's going to show you, actually this was the one, this is the wrong one, sorry. Campus instruction, part 1, right here, this one. There we go. All right, so this is documentation about campus instruction. But you can go back to the course overview. Here we go. And it'll list all of the sessions that are upcoming. It'll list them right here, and it'll tell you how long the session's going to be and what is involved, what the description of the session is going to be. And then you'll also be able to click on this content tab and download different materials. So like the basic learning guide is what it's going to go over in part 1. But if you wanted to skip the training session, you could actually go straight to the content area and download that. So like for example, Gradebook Basics, if I go to part 2 and click on that one, I can actually download the Campus Instruction Part 2 Gradebook Basic Learning Guide. And I can save that or print that off for quick reference or whatever would be most helpful for you. So that's one tool. That you can reference. Let me try to get back to the place where I need to be now. Okay, there's my screen. All right, there we go. All right, so that's basically Campus Tools and Campus Community. Does anybody have any questions about that before we move on to campus instruction? And if you do, you can unmute yourself, interrupt me, that's fine, or you can type your question in the conversation box. All right, so most of you, when you log in, you should log in to a page that looks a lot like this. This is your campus instruction module, but actually I logged in under me. So let me go back over here and log in as the teacher so you can see what it looks like from a teacher's perspective. Okay. This is what it should look like, something like this. So on the left-hand side, under the instruction heading, you can click on this drop-down box and it'll take you to the community, or it'll take you back to your campus tools. That's how you can get to it from here. Also on the left-hand side, you're going to see several different modules that you can go to. We'll cover some of these, but not all of them today. Clicking on this looks like a little notepad, just kind of toggles the menu area away. That way it gives you more workspace. And then obviously it gives you the name of the school and the calendar that you're working in. If you had access to additional schools, you could just click on this and select it from your drop down, or additional years. Sometimes, especially if you're copying assignments, you can go back to the previous year and view previous year information. This is just like a little notification. When you click on it, It lets you know just little things that are happening. If you have any messages, this is just like a little help. This question mark is just like a little help area. And then the person here, that is your that is where you would click on to log out, or you can click on for your account settings. If you go to account settings from here, this is where you can set up your preferences for campus instruction. So do you want only your active students to show? Now be careful about having this checked, because if you have students that withdraw, they will remove from your view on your gradebook, and you won't be able to grade them any longer. Well, the disadvantage for that is sometimes you need to give them a final grade or something, but when they leave. So if you ever come across a situation where you had a student and then all of a sudden they were gone, then you'll need to go up here to your little avatar and select your account settings, and then uncheck this Show Active Students Only box. And then that will give you the ability to see all of your students that have withdrawn. And that way you can still maintain their assignments and grades and things like that. Show student number. Got a question coming in? Okay, is the box checked as a default? Yes, the box is usually checked as a default. So you may want to go in and check that. But the good news is that if you check it, whatever your preference is, if you check it or uncheck it, it does it for all of your gradebooks. So you don't have to do it for each section. So definitely maybe something you want to check. Show student numbers. That's just a preference. If you don't care about their student number, you can uncheck that. Show student pictures. Some of you all, your administrators, your secretaries will load student pictures, and you can opt whether you want to see them or not. If you see them, they'll show up. Student pictures will show up in different places, like your attendance and your grade books and seating charts and things like that. So you can make that selection. You can also select if you want to use the seating chart method for attendance, or if you want to just use your little control center area for attendance. And if you want to use canned comments, I don't think we have any canned comments in our database right now, so that doesn't really make a difference. Preferences for campus tools, and I think it's pretty much the same thing. And so then you would save. You can also select preferences. See, there's no notifications, so never mind. Okay, so then you would save. And just to let you all know, I am familiar with campus instruction. I've been working with Infinite Campus for the past 10 years since it has been introduced to the state of Kentucky. But I am not a teacher, so as far as like working out of campus instruction on a daily basis, that is not something that I've ever done. So if you see me kind of fumbling from time to time, that it's because I've never worked. This is not my forte. But I know enough to be just a little dangerous, and I definitely know enough to make sure that your all stuff calculates correctly. And that's the important thing. So, but if you want like really detailed, really precise, good information about Infinite Campus instruction module, then you definitely want to consider going to your campus community and going to the Infinite Campus University and signing up for some of those sessions. All right, back to our control center. This is going to kind of be like your home button. So when you click on that, it takes you home to your control center. It's going to list all of the sections that you teach. and it's going to tell you whether you need to take attendance or not, or whether, if you need to score an assignment, if you have any assignments that you need to score. This is kind of like your little home area, just to kind of remind you of what's going on. So to take attendance, you can do it two ways. You can do it from here by clicking on this take button, and when you do that, it's going to bring up a list of all your kids. If you have pictures, that's where your pictures are going to show, their names, whether they're automatically will default to present, and you will have to go down through here and select whether they are absent or tardy. And so you'll make that selection, and then you'll hit the save button. Or you can go on the left-hand side and select attendance here, and this will bring up the period, the classes that you teach, and it will remind you the periods that are involved, and you can take attendance this way. Same method, with it always automatically defaults to the P for present, or you can select whether a student is absent or tardy. You can also, if you notice when I clicked on this, it made this little comment box highlight, so you can leave comments. So if you know that Tanya Fluke is on a field trip, you can insert that in the comment field. So I'm going to save that. And now when I go back to my control center, it'll show that attendance has been taken for that first and second period class. So the take is no longer there. Questions about attendance? One thing is, once you have taken attendance, you can go back in there and fix it and resave it again. But what I would do if I were you is I would call your clerk in the office and let them know that you made a mistake so they can make the correction on their side. Because unless it's something that you did right away and you're going to hurry up and go in there and fix it real quick again because you realized you accidentally marked the wrong person absent when it should have been the person below them. But if you've already saved it and it's been a little bit, contact your office person and let them know so they can change it on their side, because they may have already run reports or they may have already done something on their end, and so you don't want to mess anything that they've got going on up for sure. Okay, moving along. Just before we go into the gradebook, just quickly want to show you some of the things that we got going on here. The message center. This is just where you can see different kinds of district announcements and all showing up. I don't know. There may be a handful of people that are of office personnel that actually uses the announcement area. So you may not ever get announcements in here, but just so you know where it is. Rosters. This is, if you click on this, you're going to be able to select from the drop-down box your term that you want to look at, your section that you want to select. You can actually run this on a report, so you can print it off. But this is going to be a list of your active students in this class. You can do incoming, if there are any incoming. You can do dropped, that way you can see your dropped kids, or all. And if you do all, it's going to divide them. It's going to have active students up at the top, and then it'll have dropped students or incoming students down at the bottom. It's going to show you, because this is a test site, you're not seeing as much information as you normally would for your regular students, but it's going to show you their gender, their grade, their date of birth, their start date, if they've dropped the class, their end date. if they have any kind of flags. Now this is where you would be able to click on that IEP flag and see their IEP, and you'd be able to print it off if you needed to. If they had any health flags, you can click on that and see if they've got any kind of health issues. Another flag that you all may see under here, listed under here, is the high school flag to show which high school they're coming from. So if you got a classroom full of kids that come from different high schools, if you hover over the flag, it's going to tell you this kid has come from Campbell County High School. This kid is coming from Henry County High School. That way you can kind of tell. And this report options button, it will allow you to print this off in report format, and you can show whatever information that you want shown on this report. Roster verification. This is something if you want to be able to verify that this information in your database is correct, you can, but most of the time in our database we don't use this because the information that we're getting is information that is synced directly from the high schools. So you probably won't ever use this. Seating charts. You can create seating charts. So in the beginning there's nothing there. I can select new, and I want to say for what class I want seating charts, and I can name my chart. So I can have several seating charts for one section if I want. So if I wanted to name this one red, and I can make my preferences and then create chart, and then I can move them around. Say I don't want Tanya Fluke to sit next to Harry Potter, then I can move her over. You can arrange your desks if you want to get rid of desks. You can. However you want to do it. And actually, I think you can print this off as well. And this would be if you had pictures in your database, this is where your pictures would show. Okay. Student groups. You can divide your kids into groups if you need to. So let's say Jon Snow is working on other different projects than Harry Potter and Tanya Fluke. So you can create a project group or whatever kind of group you want, and then you would say which students you want to add to that particular group. And I'll show you in a little bit where you can use those type of student groups. And let's say I want to make a new one and call it advanced group. Okay. All right. Class serve. This is not something that we use at all, so just ignore that. Post grades. You can go here to post your grades if you want to. You can post by your grading task, but you can also post directly in the gradebook. So this is just another place where you can post your grades. So to do it, you would select your term, select your section, and the grading task in which you would post your grades to. Okay, and just while we're here at this point, I want to tell you all that when you set your grade books up, you want to attach all of your categories and your assignments to your CTE term grade. You only want to post a final grade to your final grade, but you're going to use the CTE term grade as like an in-progress grade where you're going to be constantly posting to that grading task and when you post a new grade, that grade then will sync back to the high school to give them an idea of what kind of grade that student is earning, and it will also help them with athletic eligibility and things like that. So I'll go more into that here in a minute, but you should see when you click on your drop-down box, you will always see a CTE term grade and a CTE final grade, and some of you all may see a CTE final exam grade. Okay, so you can multi-post grades. You can fill in your percent and grade and comments. That way you don't have to go through each individual one. You can post by student or you can post by grading task, whichever you prefer. If you were to use this fill percent, so I think because I don't have any assignments in here, it's not going to let me do anything because I don't have any assignments in here yet. But ideally, I think what happens is you click on this fill percent grade comments, and you'll get another box that'll come up, and you would type in what the percentage is, what the grade is, and then hit fill, and it'll fill it in for all students. Assignment overview. This is just where you would go to filter your assignments so you can see your assignments. Won't use lockers. We don't use course requests. There's reports down here. This is one thing that you'll need to know. You click on this report, it's going to bring you up to the report home area where you can run different kinds of reports. For attendance, for rosters, to make labels, to see how often your students are logging onto the portal, to make blank spreadsheets. You can run gradebook reports. Grade report is going to show you it's going to be able to show you the grades that have been posted. It's also going to show you grades that are missing. You can also divide. Say you only want to see kids that are making below a certain grade level, like anybody that's making below a 60. You can filter that out with this grades report. Gradebook export, you can export your entire gradebook into a report. Missing assignments, just different types of reports. If you want to print off an actual report card for a student, you would have to go back over to the campus tools to do that. I'll just show you really quickly where that is. So that's going to be under Gradings and Standards, Reports, and then there's a report card right here. And then you would select the report card template from your drop-down box, and then it would print off a regular report card for your student. Just make your sort options and make sure your effective date is within the school year. And you can do all students, or you can filter by grade, or just different options. But that's where you would go for that. I don't know why they don't have that in the instruction module. So if that was one of your all's questions, or if you were wondering, I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay, the gradebook, the meat and potatoes of campus instruction. This is where you will go to set up everything in order to calculate your grades for the class. So when you click on gradebook, it's going to look a lot like this. It's going to look just like this. You're going to have your drop down to select your term. You're going to have your section. You can, from your drop down, if you teach more than one section, they'll be listed here. And your grading tasks will be listed there. And like what I told you, you'll see multiple different, you'll see the CTE term grade and the CTE final grade, and then possibly you'll see the CTE final exam grading tasks. The differences in those, and I'll go over those again. The CTE term grade is the grading task that you will use to calculate your grades. This is where all of your categories and your assignments are going to be attached to the CTE term grade. This is where it's like your in progress grade. You're going to constantly be updating this grade at least once a week in order to send a posted, updated, in progress grade back to your high schools. The CTE Final Grade, and we don't see it listed here because, like I said, this is a test site, and I didn't set it up that way. I forgot to add the CTE Final Grade. But the CTE Final Grade that is where you will post to a final grade for the class. Some of your principals will say that they want to see a final grade at the end of the semester, which is typically around Christmas time. And then they also want to see a final grade at the end of the school year. It just depends, and they'll give you directions and tell you. But the CTE final grade there should be no categories or assignments attached to that grading task. And that is the one that you're going to use to post a final grade for the course, which will give a credit, which will give a transcript record for that course. As I mentioned earlier, some of you all will also see the CTE final exam grade. And that is a grading task that is specific for high schools that want to see a final exam grade. And usually that final exam grade is averaged with the CTE term grade and the CTE final grade, or actually it's averaged in with the CTE term grade to equal the CTE final grade. And that is something, all of that compositing and averaging and everything, that is something that is set up by your administrator in Campus Tools. And it's set up at the course level. So that's not something that you have to worry with. That's something that your principals and your secretaries will take care of. But the first thing you do before you add any assignments or anything is you want to obviously verify your roster to make sure that the students that are listed are the students that are in your class. If you see any students that are not in your class that are showing up on your roster, report that information to your principal as soon as possible, because the nature of the KTS data exchange is that everything is connected through the course number. And there are times when other high schools will accidentally pull in a course number that belongs to a technical school that they maybe should not have. For example, this is Barron County Area Technology Center. So let's say that a high school from Bullitt County accidentally pulled in a Barron County course number, and they rostered students into that course number. Those students then would start syncing back to Barron County Area Technology Center, and then you would start seeing them in your rosters here. And so that's why I say if you see students in your roster that don't belong there, report that to your administrator so they know, because it's an issue. First of all, it's a FERPA violation, and it's definitely an issue that Bullitt County would need to fix right away. And they would need to pull in the correct course number and delete them from your course. Okay, the second thing that you would need to do is go to your settings. So this little arrow right here, if you click on that, it's going to toggle open the settings for your gradebook. And at the top, we got Gradebook Setup headings, we got the Gradebook Tools, Other, and Preferences. Okay, so the preferences here, sorry. Gradebook last updated. This Gradebook last updated here, there's a date stamp associated with that. I think because of the way my screen is, I'm not able to scroll down and see it, but that's what's down here at the bottom, Gradebook last updated. Okay, the preferences, this is going to change the look and the setup of your Gradebook visual over here. So if you want to display different things, like you don't want the spark line is going to show you, the spark line would start populating here as assignments are created and show you the variances between grades. You can also do pass-fail coloring for grades if you want to on your, so like if you've got failing grades, I think they show up in red. You can also do that for scores if you just want to see the scores for the individual assignments to see who failed those. You can mute the coloring. You can also turn the save alert on and off. I would suggest to always keep it on, because you always, if you make any changes in your gradebook and you don't save it and you forget to hit save, they're gone. So with this alert being on, if you make changes in your gradebook and you go somewhere else and you forget to hit save, it's going to give you an alert and remind you that you need to hit save before you leave. So I would always suggest clicking that on there. Assignments per page, you can make this selection if you only want to see, you know, how many assignments you want to see per page. Back up here, the first place that you need to go to when you're setting up your gradebook for a section is you need to go to your categories. You can break your gradebook down into different categories. So for example, you can make it to where you can select it for all sections or individual sections. So let's say I want to add a category called homework. And if I taught more sections, I could check every section I want this homework category to be attached to. And let's say I want homework to be worth 30% of the grade. So then I would put 30 there. You can also select the sequence in which you want it to show. You can exclude it from calculations if you want, or you can say you want to drop the lowest score. But most of the time you're just going to leave those and then save. And there's one category. So then the next one, everything always needs to equal 100%. So I made homework worth 30%. I'm going to say I want the next one to be tests. And I want that one to be worth 40% of the grade. Oops. Okay. And save that. And then, okay, 47. So I've got 70% here between the homework and the test. So I'm going to add in another category, and I'm going to call it projects. And I'm going to make that worth 30%. And save. And close. So now I've got my categories set up. And like I said, if you have different categories depending on the different sections you teach, you can do that. If you can select it for, for just all of them, you could do that. That's how quick it is. Questions about categories before I move on? Okay. So then the next thing that you would do is you would go to your Grade Calc Options link here. So you need to be able to tell the database how you want your grades to calculate. And even though you might see things filled in here, I always tell all of my teachers, to still go ahead and do this, because sometimes, and I've been working, like I said, helping people with Infinite Campus instruction for a while, and sometimes it can be a little finicky. And I found that if you go in here and you refresh your calculations, a lot of times that'll fix your issues. So what you would do is click on your Fill Options button up at the top left-hand corner. And then for your fill calculation type, you want to click on the drop-down and select In Progress Grade. And then for your grading scale, we only have one grading scale, and that's the Cte Grading Scale. So you would select that. Then you can say whether you want to weight your categories or use scores percentage value. You can make your decision as far as that goes. Or you can leave those blank, and then you would hit OK. And so that would fill all of that in all the way down, and then you would save it. And sometimes I would say that I would go in here and refresh my grade calc options, maybe once or twice a year, just to make sure that everything is calculating correctly. And I found that if you do that, then you're probably not going to have very many issues. Okay, so the first thing that we did was we went to categories and we created our categories. Then we went to grade calc options and we updated our grade calc options. The next place that we want to go to is we want to add assignments. You can either go to the assignment list to do that, or up at the top you can click on Add. Either way will take you to the same thing. So if I click Add here, it's going to take me to the assignment detail page where I can directly type in an assignment record. Or I can click on the assignment list, and it's going to bring up a listing of all of the assignments that I have, and I can filter them if I want to. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, I can hit New Assignment, and it'll take me to that assignment detail page. So from here, I'm going to create a test. So test 1. Name your assignments, whatever you want to name them, and then you always have to have an abbreviation as well, T1. This abbreviation is going to show up across the top. Assignment default. There's no assignment defaults, but if you wanted to, you could go into your gradebook and your settings to create some, but you don't have to. This is not a necessary field to select. But from here, you would select which sections that you want this assignment to be attached to. If you teach more than one digital literacy class or what have you, you can go down through. They would all be listed here, and you could go down through and check the checkbox next to each section to say, yes, I want this assignment attached to this section. The assigned dates will automatically default to today's date, but I will tell you that I would make sure that I would keep up with these dates appropriately, because they're going to show up in places like you'll get reminders if assignments are overdue and things like that. So let's say if I made this assignment today, and I want to say that this assignment is actually due, the test is actually going to be due on Friday. And GB sequence, this is just the gradebook sequence. This is the sequence in which you want this particular assignment to show up in the gradebook. They all default to 1, but let's say you want all your tests to show up first, be grouped in one area first, then you can designate where you want that sequence to be. Now this is where the student group that I created over here, This is where I can select if I want to. I can say I want all my students to have this test, or I only want the students that are in the advanced group to have the test. It's my decision. And this is where I can add more sections if I want to. If I had more, I don't. But this is where I could add and remove sections that would be assigned this particular assignment. The category, if you remember, I created homework category, project, and a test category. This is where I would say I want my test assignment, test 1 assignment, to be attached to the test category. I want to include it in my calculations. It automatically defaults to that. And this is where I was telling you guys that all of your assignments should always be attached to the CTE term grade. So you would select CTE term grade. Scoring type is automatically going to default to points. We don't use marks. Unless you want to create marks of your own, you can. I want to say I want this test to be worth 100 points with a multiplier of 1 that defaults there. And then now I'm going to save. Now, if I want to, I could also score it while I'm here. So I added the assignment, and now I'm going to go over here, and it takes me to my roster where I can go in here and score this assignment. So Tanya Fluke made a 95, Harry Potter made a 76, and Jon Snow made an 83. If I find out later on that Tanya Fluke cheated, I can mark that. Or if Jon Snow turned in his assignment late, or that Harry Potter missed his assignment, you can put that. T means turned in, I means incomplete, X means excluded. So, I mean, you can use these. These are optional things that you can use. You can also have optional assignment comments if you wanted to put those in there. That's your decision. So I'm going to save, but I'm going to put in a comment right here next to Harry Potter. Use magic during the test. And I'm going to save and close. So that's that assignment. Now I'm gonna add another assignment, and this one is going to be the homework 1 assignment, HW1. This homework assignment is not due until 2 weeks from now. And we want to add it to the homework category. I want to select the CTE term grade, and it is worth 100 points. And I'm going to save that, but I'm not going to score it. I'm going to save it. I'm going to add another assignment. I'm going to call this Project 1 P1, and the project is due Friday, but this is only going to be for my project group. Category of projects, and I'm going to make sure that I select the CTE term grade, and the project is worth 100 points. And I'm going to score that. And so if you noticed, I made this assignment I only gave this assignment to those that are in the project group. So it automatically makes the ones that are not in the group exempt from this. And so I'm going to say that Jon Snow made a 94 on this project, and he did a great job. Save. and close. I'm going to add one more project assignment. And this one is also going to be due on Friday. But I'm going to make it, this project is for everybody. And the CTE term grade points, 100. Did I mention the portal box? I'm sorry, I did not. The portal box, good question, Robert. This, if it's automatically checked, always, it will show this assignment on the student and parent portal. If you don't want it to show up on there, you would uncheck it. And that's what that is, basically. It automatically defaults to turn it on, and so it will show up on when the students and the parents log in. But if for some reason you have an assignment that you don't want to show on the portal, you would uncheck it. All right. So now I'm going to score that. And so now when I'm scoring this one, I didn't group that, so everybody should get a score for this. So I'm going to say 72. Harry Potter made 76. And Jon Snow, he likes projects, so he made a 98. Save. And close. Save and close. Always save, then close. So now you can see we got some things going on here. So first of all, I'm going to close my settings so I can have more room. And I'm going to also toggle this over so I can even have more room. So I can see this a little bit better. Remember that I had the spark line graph checked. This is what it's showing. It just shows that your consistency as far as the grades go for you. You can turn that off if you want, but also if I close this out, this is going to close this posted in progress and categories area out for me and give me more room to see my assignments. So let's say that I can also grade my my assignments from here if I don't want to score them in that one area that we were just in. Let's say I made a mistake and Tanya Fluke actually didn't score an 85 on the test. She scored 95. I can click in there and make that change real quick, and it takes care of that. You'll notice that there's little, if there are any kind of notes, is like a little red tab up in the top, and you can hover over it, and it'll tell you what that note says. You'll also notice that for this particular project, only Jon Snow was assigned that, so the other two were exempt, and so it's blacked out, and it does not include this in the calculation for their grades. If you click on this little hyperlink up here, it's going to take you. Prior to editing an assignment, all gradebook must be saved. This is where that reminder is, that you have to save your gradebook before you leave. So I want to save and continue. And so now it's going to open up that. When I clicked on the little hyperlink, it opens up the assignment detail. So I can make kind of modifications to that if I need to. Here's another thing too. Anytime you update your gradebook, so Jon Snow, he went ahead and turned in this project, and he got a 93. So if you notice, I added that in there, and this little save button up here turned from black to red. That's just another reminder to let me know that I've made some modifications to my gradebook, and I need to save it. Before I save that, You're going to see that I'm open this back up to show you that this is the posted area. This shows you if you've posted a grade for this class. This is the in progress area. This is an area that your grade is constantly going to be updating as you calculate it. So it kind of shows you what the in progress grade is thus far. Categories, you can break down your percentages by category so you can see which category the student is actually doing better in. Do they do better on tests or do they do better on homework? And so now when I hit save, I'll save my grade book. So now I'm going to say that I want to post. So to post, actually, I'm trying to figure out where I am right now. Okay, so, oh, here it is. I'm going to open this back up over here, and now I'm going to go to post grades. So I'm thinking that I should be able to do this now, but oh, I'm wrong because my my administrator didn't open up the posting window for me. So that's why I'm not able to do anything. So if you ever get over here to post grades and you're not able to do anything, it's because your administrator needs to open up the posting window for you. So let me do that real quick. Okay, back over here. Sorry about that. So if I wanted to, now that the posting window is open, you see my little post area is back over here on the gradebook side. So I'm going to close this back out and show you how I can post. So if I want to post individually, I can, or if I click on this post button, it's going to bring up a little box that'll ask me what I want to post this grade to. So the only grading test that I have open right now is my Q1 CTE term grade. So that's the one I'm going to post to. And I hit OK. And it says grades will be posted upon save. And so now when I look over here in the posted box, the grades that you see here that have been in progress are now actually posted. So, and also another thing that I noticed is that my save button is red again. So I need to save. So now I'm going to go back in here and I want to add a homework assignment grade for for Tanya Fluke and Harry Potter. So 98 and 98. All right, so I'm going to save that. So you'll see that now the percentage for Tanya Fluke and Harry Potter, if the in progress grade and the regular grade, they're different now than the posted grade because I've added assignment grades over here. So now what I can do is I can now should be able to go down to the post grades area if I wanted to. And I should be able to now click on these boxes and post my grades. So right now, this is my current percentage that I have posted already. But if I wanted to click on fill percent and grade, I can actually overwrite all of this and say I want everybody to just get 100%. And I'm going to overwrite all of this, and I'm just going to say, because I am feeling really generous today, and, you know, I mean, that never happens, but I'm just going to say, great job, everyone. And this is going to apply to all students. And I can select other these are canned comments. So there are some canned comments in here, but and now I'm going to say fill, and all students will be updated. Continue, okay, and it's overwritten all of the grades that I've just posted back on the other page. The in-progress grades, it's overwritten them to make them 100. And I'm going to save. So now if I go back to my gradebook, you'll see that, click on it. Let me open this back up. But there it is. You'll see that the posted grade is now 100 down the line for everybody. But I made a mistake. I didn't want to do that. They got on my nerves, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to give them the grade that they had before. And I can actually take the comments out here. If I wanted to do it all at once, I would have to go back to that post. Okay, so now I'm going to save, and boom. Everybody's back to normal. Do you have any questions about anything? This is pretty much all that I wanted to show you all. I just wanted to make sure that you knew how to navigate. I wanted to make sure that you have to go to your settings and you have to set up categories. You have to update your grade calc options, and then from there you can go to your assignment list and start making new assignments. It's important to save. It's important for you to know how to post. I'm glad I showed you guys how to go to your account settings and make sure that you can show your active students only or turn that off, because a lot of you all, I got messages saying the kids that are gone, I can't find them, they're gone, and so now you know how to pull them back up. But pretty much that's it. Just make sure, the important thing is just make sure that you go to your gradebook settings and you set that up. And like I said before, sometimes the gradebook, no matter how many times that they update it, it can be really quirky. And so sometimes if you notice any type of grade calculation issues, if you just go to your grade calc options and refresh all that by clicking on fill options, that usually just does the trick for you. And you'll notice, and when you save it, then you'll start noticing your grades calculating correctly. If you have issues, things for you to notice if you have issues and you don't realize that you do. This in progress area right here, so let's say you're adding assignments and you're adding grades, but nothing is showing up over here in this in progress area. That's a signal for you that something's not calculating correctly, and you really probably need to come over here and go to your grade calc options and refresh that. questions? Let's say, do you all want to see what it looks like for a student? Like there's a parent portal type of thing or a student portal type of thing. I'll show you real quick while I still have you. Just so you know, because sometimes you don't see that and you don't know what they see. Can parents see assignments that I've created but not assigned yet? That's a good question. So let's do that real quick and just see what happens. Sandbox. And that's one of those situations, Robert, where haven't been in it enough to experience that, so I'm not sure, but let's find out. Oh, just so you know, now that we have assignments, you can click on this assignment overview, and it's just going to kind of give you a tree view of your assignments, the categories in your assignments. Okay, so you want me to build an assignment, let's say test 2. But we're not assigning it until August the 13th. All right, so now I'm going to log in as the student and see what they see. Okay, so this is what the student and the parent portal will look like. Now for parents, if they have more than one kid, they'll have a drop-down box up here where they can toggle between their students. So if we go to John's calendar, you'll notice that there are certain attendance events here that are showing up. Let me get rid of this thing. Come on, it's not letting me. Okay. But if I keep going over, now I'm also going to see assignments. So it does look like there's an assignment here, even though we put on here that it's not until a future date. It is showing on here, but when they click on it, it has the date. See, that's why I say it's important. A lot of teachers just ignore the dates and they just leave the dates what they are, but this is what's happening because now the calendar is showing when the date was assigned for the class, for the assignment, and when the due date is. So this is where the dates are important because you don't want your teachers or your students or your parents to see assignments in dates that aren't true. You'll start to get a bunch of calls from these people or parents, or you have them asking you questions about what that deal is. So here's an assignment that was assigned and actually should have been graded. Yeah. So when you click on that assignment, it shows that it was assigned on 7/31, that it's not due until 8/10, but it was already scored. And then if you had any comments here, that's where the comments would show. So the student sees this and the parent sees this. That's why I say if you have any assignments that you don't want to show in the portal, you would uncheck that portal box. Schedule. This is the student's schedule. They can see which classes they're assigned to. Attendance. They can see their past attendance here, when they were absent, when they were tardy. Their grades, if they have any posted grades, their posted grades are going to show. The yellow is in progress, so that's not posted. That's so far. This is what the in progress is going to be for the final grade thus far, if it keeps going this way. And so then it will also show the assignments listed here and the details as far as what they scored. They can click on each individual assignment and see the assignment details. Gradebook view, they can also click on there and see the gradebook view. They can see it in different ways. This is that grading scale. This is our Cte grading scale. It goes from 0 to 100. They can run reports. They can run their own report card. They can run a transcript record if they have any missing assignments, what their schedule is. If there's any messages, they'll show here. If you can actually send discussions to your students or your parents through the Infinite Campus if you wanted to. But to me, how often do they log onto their portal? They should. You can check that, but I would just communicate with them in a different way, personally. Account settings. This is where they would go to add a recovery email. Now this is important because when the students start doing their survey, the student surveys, they're going to log into their portal to do the surveys, and a lot of them don't remember their username or password. So they need to have an account security email added to their account so they can retrieve their username and password if they need to. So please encourage them to add a security email, and this is where they would add it. Question, will the parent have to have a separate Infinite Campus for ATC in high school, or will student classes show up for both in the same portal? Good question, Amy. So because we have our own Infinite Campus, they will have a separate portal for their technical school classes. And they will have a portal for their high school. So they'll have two portals. Parents and students will have two portals. One for high school, one for technical school. Now, the posted grade for the KTS data exchange, the posted grade is what syncs to the high school. So the high school will actually, their side, they'll see the posted grade. So if the parents logged into the high school portal, they wouldn't see the assignments. They would just see the posted grades listed here as they synced in. if the parents or the students want to see the grade detail and the in-progress grades, they have to log into the technical school database. And to be able to grant, students will automatically be granted portal access. To get to that information, on the KTS Data Exchange webpage, under Infinite Campus Login, there is instructions for student portal access listed here, and that will tell them how to get on. If they have forgotten their username or password, there are, if they click on this portal to log in, they can click on these hyperlinks to see if they can retrieve their account information. If they still continue to have issues logging in, they can send me an email and I will reset them. Parents, to gain access, here's instructions for parents. Parents need to request access through the office, and the office will have to give them a special activation code, which it's also called a GUID number. And so the office will verify that they're the parent with an ID, and they will give them this special activation code to be able to create their unique login for the portal on the technical school site. Any other questions? Okay, well, that is pretty much it. I hope you all got something out of this. I recorded it, so I may save it, and yeah, go ahead, Robert. Go ahead and type your question. So I may save it and post it on our webpage. I know I'm doing several. I'm doing another one of these next week. Actually, I'm doing 2 of them next week, and I'm doing another one in 2 weeks. And so I'm going to record all of those, and whichever one is better and that I don't sound like the most country hick person in the world, I will post. The other ones I'll just get rid of. But hopefully you all were able to learn something that you didn't know or take away something from this. And I got Robert typing a question. Using the exclude option when creating an assignment, would that prevent parents from seeing an assignment before it's due? I think so, yes. So, I mean, I can test that theory out if you want. But assigned, okay. Yes, it should, because it excludes that student from that assignment. So if you create the assignment in there and you exclude everybody, then whoever's excluded, it's not going to show up on them. And then you could go back and unexclude them when you're ready. Is that what your goal is? You just don't want them to see the assignment? Okay, I see what you're saying. But you can do it differently. There is an exclude button for the assignment itself. Let me log back in here and I'll show you really quick. And while I'm logging back in here, I'm going to read Amy's question. Does parents and student portal look the same, or does one show more than the other? They look the exact same. The only difference is if the parent has more than one student, then up at the top they can toggle back and forth between the students. Good questions. All right. So if we were to go to the gradebook and add an assignment, this exclude or include a grade calculation button, I'm pretty sure will take that off of there. So let's test that out. Project, or let's do homework 2. And we'll just leave the dates. But we're going to exclude it from grade calculations. 100. Add, oops, sorry. Save. Close. All right, so now the way that looks, it's here. Let's add a score for Jon Snow. Let's say he made a 50 on it. Save. Save. All right. Go back in here. If I'm moving around too fast for you guys, I'm sorry. User. All right, so let's go look at the calendar. And so we had the assignment. Okay, so the homework assignment is there, but it was excluded from the grade calculations, but it is still showing there. Okay, but I'm pretty sure there's another way to exclude the whole assignment. I might have to fish around and see if I can't figure that one out. If you need to go, that I understand, that's fine. Unchecking the portal. Yeah. You can uncheck. Yeah, for sure. I forgot that area. Okay. So yeah, if you check that portal box, it shows up. If you uncheck it, it should not show. All right. So let me go back and sandbox. Oops. All right, so there's a little asterisk by it to say that it's excluded from the grade calculations, but, okay, so I'm going to include it back, but I'm going to uncheck it from portal, and let's see what happens there. I'm sure that's going to do the trick. Close it. All right. All right, calendar. It's not there. So it's not showing up there. And let's go to the grades. So we remember the homework 2 was the one that we took off of the portal, so it's not there. But it's still in the calculation because we calculated it and we saved the grade. So the calculation is reflected down here, but it's just not showing that particular assignment. No. I want you to ask these questions. Thinking of creating assignments rather than doing, yeah. I want you all to, that's why I'm here. That's why I did this, because I feel like I've neglected you all these past couple years. So I wanted to make sure that you all got your all's questions answered and that you all knew what you all were doing in your grade book. So awesome. Okay, guys, do y'all have anything else? Awesome. I'm so happy I could have helped. Awesome. All right, guys, you're welcome. If y'all need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. Thanks, Amy. Welcome to Warren. I appreciate your time. Last minute. I'm going to stick on here for a couple minutes. If y'all need anything, just let me know. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And you all have a great afternoon.